great. Fantastic.
We're not evil, I swear. We don't play group hug. All right. Hello, and welcome back. I'm Austin.
And I'm Josh.
And welcome to the Drunk Tank.
Yeah, we're from Elder Drunken Highlander.
Oh, yeah, I forgot that part.
Yeah. Oh, well, we already opened the beer. We can only do that once. So this is it.
Guess we're here.
Today we're talking about Stax.
Yay.
And what is Stax and why Stax is Stax, right?
Yes. Yeah, basically it's a stack of shit.
Pretty good.
Yeah, I like this. It's nice chocolate truffle stout.
Yeah. All right.
But we digress. Stax.
Stax is basically, you said it while we were talking about it.
Yeah, it's like a variant of control.
It's a universal form of control, kind of. Well, it's resource denial, and it's game plan denial. Yeah. And when you're playing Stax, you're not so much banking on the fact that you're going to be locking everyone down and they won't be able to do anything, because usually you can figure out a way to get around Stax if you play well or you build your deck in a certain way. You're banking on
stopping people from doing what they want to do.
Exactly. You're banking on everyone else at the table coming there with a plan, and then you say, well, I'm going to play this one card, and it's going to make everyone's plan just completely go out the window, and they're going to have to change everything, and you're going to hope that they're not going to be able to adapt quickly enough for you to get off your slower win con in time, whether that's combat damage or some weird combo or whatever.
Winter Orb.
Yeah, Winter Orbs.
Or Torpor. All the orbs.
Yeah.
Let's just go orbs.
This Winter Orb's a good example. That's one everyone knows, right? You only untap one land. And so if everyone taps out, you play the Winter Orb, and let's say your deck doesn't really need mana for whatever reason. Maybe you have a lot of artifacts. Maybe you have like a lot of like rituals. Maybe you just curve out at 2, so you don't need to, have a lot of mana from your lands. Yeah. There could be a bunch of different things that make that affect you less, that break parity with it, and that's how you use that to your advantage, and you can disrupt everyone else's plan if they have a bunch of like converted mana cost like 4+ things. Yeah. They can't cast those for a while. So
hey, Josh, you said the buzzword of the day.
What's the buzzword of the day?
Parity.
Oh, that is the buzzword of the day. Look at that.
So when he says break parity, he basically is talking about making sure that whatever you're doing doesn't affect you. It makes sure that it only affects your opponents. It puts you ahead.
It affects you less.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. Like, I have a Makar deck that runs Winter Orb. If I drop Winter Orb turn 3, I don't care, because I'm just going to play my commander, and now nobody plays creatures and nobody untaps lands. That's essentially breaking parity.
Yeah, well, if you have board state and no one else has board state, and they can't progress their board state because you have this big mean Stax piece, that's definitely breaking parity. You could just smack them.
Exactly.
Over and over again.
A good example of that's been recently printed, I guess, would be Arkalos, the Turtle Lagoon Mystic.
True.
Who'll probably appear either above or around my head here.
He's sick.
He is. He's really fun.
I wish he had more power, but he's a turtle, so
he's got a big butt.
Not. I want to turn him sideways and beat people to death with him and have their stuff enter tapped.
I just want to make.
A little weak for that.
I just want to make walls.
Yeah, fair. He'd be good with like a butt tribal kind of deck.
Big booty boys.
Yeah. True.
But basically, Stax gets a lot of hate.
It does.
It just gets a lot of hate because a lot of people don't like the strategy because, well, it is designed to not be liked.
That's what it does.
That's the point. It's like a control. Nobody likes control decks, but people bitch about them less
because it messes with your plan. And you come into, especially commander, you're like, my deck's gonna do the thing, and the Stax deck's plan is, no, your deck's not gonna do the thing. You're gonna deal with this, and then maybe you'll do the thing. Mm-hmm. And people don't like that. They just want to do the stupid thing. And sometimes you gotta solve a little bit of a puzzle before you do the thing, and sometimes that's rewarding. It's
one of my favorite things to do is when you have 4 people at the table and one person isn't affected by your Stax piece as badly as the other 2. Now there's a predicament that's been placed on the table. That person's probably like, Yeah, cool. That can sit.
Well, that's where the Stax deck backfires, right? Because you're as a Stax player, you're spending your resources to deny everyone else their resources. And if there's a player who says, I'm fine, and doesn't really change what they're doing, then that's a huge problem because your deck is entirely dependent on everyone else changing what they're doing based on the cards you're playing. That's where like my Brawl and Shabraz deck we have a notorious Stax player or two or three.
We're all Stax players.
There's a lot of Stax.
Our home group has a lot of Stax.
Well, like when we sit down to play like CEDH, there's like Zerta Stax. There's a guy who plays Derevi. There's this guy. There's my other deck besides Brawl and Shabraz. Well, I guess I have a couple other decks now, but like my other like CEDH deck that I've been playing for a while besides Brawl and Shabraz is also Stax. Yep. So we have a lot of Stax in our group. So the deck plays through Stax. Like Brawl and Shabraz lists normally have a lot of Stax in their lists. But I don't play any of that because everyone else at the table is going to play Stax pieces, and I can just take advantage of that. And instead of having to waste time playing a Blood Moon or a Curse Totem or the things like that, I can just play more advantage pieces and more mid-range value stuff and break parity using like his Stax piece. And that's terrifying if you're a Stax deck.
That's another weird thing about Stax is that it's very dependent on the group you play in.
Yeah, it is.
Playstyle is heavily dependent on specifically the pieces that you use for Stax. Because what one group may consider a Stax piece, maybe to another player group.
Yeah, we have like a pretty creature light meta when you get to the more high power like things, and so you don't see a lot of Stax decks running. Yeah, there's a lot of combo, and you don't see a lot of decks running like things like Pyroclasm and things like Humility, stuff like Verity Circle. I've literally never seen someone play Verity Circle in our local meta.
Nope. I've seen it. Yeah, no, local meta, no.
Never.
I went to Manchester once, and that I saw it once, but that was literally an hour away from me. So
it's a while. So it's like there's really even the Derevi deck doesn't play Verity Circle.
Stasis.
Yeah, like it doesn't need like I don't know. So like it's because we don't have a lot of creature-based combos in our deck. There's like a Marwyn, and that's really it. There's I guess, do you count Anji?
She's not creature heavy. That's a storm deck.
Selvala, kinda. I mean, like not really. There's very few creatures decks in our meta. So
and even our creature decks, if they are creature decks, tend to lean towards Stax. Like it's just kind of how we play.
Most of our creature decks is I'll play a lot of Stax effects that'll allow me to play big Timmy creatures and beat you in the face until you die, and you won't be able to do anything about it because I've got like Rest in Peace and like Torpor Orb and like a bunch of other like ridiculous Stax effects that make you not able, like Stranglehold. Like stop it.
It's beautiful. It's
Quit
so
it.
Beautiful. Like one of my favorite things that they've printed recently is Opposition Agent. Like granted, did we really need more tutor hate? Yes.
Yeah, no. I was actually kind of peeved when Opposition Agent got printed because I was upset that it was a really cool Stax effect that could be going to white that wasn't going to white. But I hot take, I still think Aven Mind Sensor is not better, but like still
it's
comparable.
about equal.
Yeah, it's got flying, which is becoming more and more relevant with all the combat damage like related things like Timna. Obviously, it's in Timna's colors. I'd rather have an Aven Mind Sensor to draw me the cards than I would an Opposition Agent to like be there. Because once they hit the board, they do the same thing. Once you cast them, and the Aven Mind Sensor basically says, "Don't tutor for your thing, Mr. Tainted Pact mana base over there." But
and
like,
then Opposition Agent's just like, I'm gonna tutor for the thing now. It's just basically denying them the same thing.
It's good. It's better. But then also, once they're on the board, the Aven Mind Sensor is a better 2/1 flyer. It can block like Crom.
It can beat walkers.
It can attack planeswalkers. That's becoming more and more relevant. At least in our meta.
Yeah.
With all the mid-range bull crap.
Like
it's
I'm
more relevant.
Like I'm personally probably the most creature heavy player in our play group, and I have I think it's a Timna.
You play Surku.
Okay, yeah, I play Surku, but my casual decks tend to lean creature heavy. Like I have a Timna and what's his name? White.
Bruce?
No, white, black, flying.
Ravos.
Yeah, I have a Timno Ravos.
Remember his own commander decks.
I have like 20 of them.
That's a different point though. Like, is Stax appropriate? I was kind of talking about it through like a competitive to high power like lens. Is Stax appropriate for casual Magic?
I'd say so.
Yeah, definitely.
I've been playing it since high school.
I mean, like, look, I feel like casual decks are even more well equipped to deal with stacks than like high power combo decks. Because if your deck is hinged on doing a specific thing and the stacks
better be able to get rid of that piece.
You're screwed. If your deck is hinged around just playing creatures and doing like various simple things that like involve like one or two cards maybe and don't need like synergies, like combos. If you're just playing good stuff, right? Like ultimate Timmy decks. You're fine. Who cares if he plays Winter Orb? You're gonna have the best creature.
Exactly.
If you have the strongest creature on the board and someone plays Winter Orb, you're winning. So what? You have a bunch of other stuff in your hand you can't cast, dude.
You don't need it.
What's a really Timmy creature?
Stormtide Leviathan.
Your Stormtide.
That's a Stax piece.
That is all right. Different Timmy creature. What's the name of the Apex Devastator? Like, your Apex Devastator's a 10/10. What are they gonna do about that? They can't cast spells.
Well, there's also 4 other things that are probably on the board now because of the Apex Devastator.
Galta's a great example.
Galta is Timmy incarnate.
Why are there no more Galta Stax decks? Think about it. Galta cheats on mana cost, right? So you could play a bunch of mana, like mana hate, land destruction.
Like Winter Orb and Dorks.
Yeah, exactly. And
Winter Orb, Torpor Orb, Dorks like that. Oh,
ramp up to Galta. No one can cast their spells. You have a fucking 12/12. He's gonna build it now. I can see it in his face.
Why do you do this to me?
It's a good idea. I don't know why I haven't thought of that earlier. Maybe I'll make maybe that should be our next CDH.
If you like the idea, join us on the Discord. I'll be talking about it.
Honestly, like CDH Galta with a bunch of stacks could maybe get there for Fringe.
That'd be hilarious.
I wanna see a bunch of competitive players completely like poop their pants. Dinosaur just 2-shots them.
I mean, you just give them a Fire Shrieker and they die.
No, you don't even need Fire Shrieker. Just hit them with like Berserk or something. Like, ease. There's so many different ways that, like, or just doming the Adnos deck for 12 is enough to basically take them out of the game.
Yeah. See, stacks can be fun.
I want to try that. I think that could be pretty good.
Join the discussion.
Yeah, definitely. If you want to help us build that deck, we're 100% going to be putting it in the Discord like immediately after this filming thing. That brings us to we should transition to our next point because we got like, insanely off topic talking about fucking Galta.
Stacks.
Oh, I want to build that deck. Other varieties of stacks. So I think stacks in casual, you actually see a lot more stacks in casual than you would think because Group Hug.
Yeah,
is Stax.
Group Hug is Stax.
Group Hug is Stax.
Group Hug is evil, but Group Hug is Stax.
Group Hug is more toxic than Stax because it disguises
it says I'm your friend.
It fucks with your head.
It's gaslighting.
It is.
Group Hug is a gaslighting.
It's literally gaslighting the table because you come in, you say, "Yeah, I'm gonna help you guys all go off," and then meanwhile, like, fight amongst yourselves, you worms. Like that's how the Group Hug player in your meta is the most evil, like, bastard.
Love you, Alex.
For real, because you just give everyone answers to each other, and then you sit back and like turtle up and watch the fireworks, and that is Stax. Yep. You're denying everyone else resources by giving resources to people who can deny them those resources. It's a roundabout way of doing it, but it could backfire. But the advantage is if you're good at table manipulation,
politicking.
You
got to do that EDH politicking.
Yeah, you can get everyone to just fight amongst themselves, and that's where the Group Hug deck breaks parities. It comes in with a plan, and its plan is how it's going to manipulate everyone else into disrupting each other's plan. If you're a Group Hug player, like, post in the comments. I'm sure you have things that you say over and over and over again to different people, like, hey man, like, if X and Y happens, like, then so and so can do this, or I'll enable this. You 100% are putting cards in your deck with the thought, like, I will use this card specifically for politics. Like, like don't lie. I've played Group Hug. I know how it works. Like,
we know the script.
it's a good strategy. Like, I'm not hating, but it's also Stax.
Yep. And that's actually like a really good segue into what are the best colors for Stax?
Well, what are the best colors for Group Hug?
Bant,
yeah. Fans?
Yeah. Green, white, and blue. I'm looking at you, Angus.
We're really gonna bring up Angus McKenzie.
I'm bringing up Angus the Fog Boy McKenzie.
I'm thinking more like Derevi.
Derevi's the premier one.
Well, I think because green is the best color for breaking parity.
Yeah,
and then
you just get free
white,
stuff.
You get a lot of really good Stax pieces. White's probably the best.
Blue gets you so much card advantage.
There's an argument for red.
You
get Blood Moon.
Ooh,
but
true.
I think green ekes out red because of the breaking parity, and Root Maze is just really good.
Okay, that's fair. I like red in terms of talking Stax because of all the artifacts. And people love to break them. And you know what's really good at bringing back artifacts that people break?
Goblin Engineer. Duretti. Duretti's a really good deck. I don't know why people like stopped playing Duretti in competitive. Like, that deck slaps still. Like, it's no Godo, but like, what else is Godo?
Stax.
Because Godo's another deck that can run Stax. Although, like, you can't run as many Stax because you have to pay equipment costs.
What are you talking about?
And enter the battlefield. And tutor. It's a lot of steps.
Godo only needs 3 pieces. Ramp and Godo.
You need to pay artifact equipment costs, so you can't run things that don't let you use the activated abilities or artifacts, because that'll take you out of your combo. You can't run Torpor Orb effects, because that'll take you out of your combo.
Actually, you can use, like, magnetic theft type effects.
There's, like, one magnetic theft type effect, and it's called magnetic theft. Godo, regular Godo plays that card, though. That card's sick as fuck.
So but good. You can still run a lot of really powerful Stax effects, like we were talking about Winter Orb.
Godo doesn't really care about Winter Orb.
Yeah. What's the other orb?
Well,
Torpor Orb isn't good because you need him to ETB.
That's a good point, though. If you could just stick a couple Stax effects in your deck if you know that they'll hurt your opponents and not you. Let's say
Tangle Wire. I hate that card.
That is a evil card. Let's say you're playing like a token deck, right? That's a pretty common archetype. You're just playing green-white tokens, and you make a bunch of tokens through enchantments that give you tokens every turn, and you attack with like Beastmaster Ascension, and you murder people, right?
Once you're set up, you don't really need your lands anymore
or anything else. Let's say you have like 5 slots left in your deck, and you're like, what do I add? I have removal, I have ramp, I have a decent amount of token generators. Just stick in a bunch of rule of law effects. Who cares if you can only cast 1 spell per turn? All the spells that you're casting are getting you value over time, making you tokens, and you're going to make it so that other people have difficulty recovering against your board state, which is just going to grow and grow and grow exponentially, right? And that's like, you could just do that. Like, and any deck, if you can ignore one type of Stax, why not put it in, right?
And then you have cards like Dampening Matrix, which screws with Storm and heavy ramp decks.
If you're playing just like a deck where you play one big creature every turn, why not Dampening Matrix, right?
Yeah.
Or Dampening Sphere. Dampening Matrix is the one. Well, Dampening Matrix is good in that
both
deck
both of them are solid.
Dampening Sphere is the one with that makes you stuff cost 1 more per spell, right?
No, you're thinking of Dampening Matrix. Wait. Sphere. No, you're right. Sphere.
Dampening Matrix is the one that says you can't use the activated abilities of artifacts and creatures unless they're mana abilities. Which is also, if your deck just turns things sideways, or if you're on like Burn or something, like, why not put that in?
Or even Gaddock Teeg.
Yeah. Why not stick Gaddock Teeg in? Like,
speaking of, Stax.
Gaddock Teeg is king. If you're playing a deck that Gaddock Teeg doesn't care about, right? Like, why not just chuck him in there?
It's also fun in Nekuzar, which is group slug.
It's good, like, proactive, like, removal. Like, you could run, like, effects to destroy things or counter spells, or you could run things that make your spells sit uselessly in your opponent's hand.
Exactly. That's the other great thing about Stax, is Stax pieces force removal.
Oh, yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah, people hate Stax pieces. Like, I've seen visceral reactions to some Stax pieces hitting board. Something like a turn 1 Winter Orb is just not cool.
German Winter Orb doesn't even do anything. It just pisses people off already.
Oops.
Land soaring Winter Orb. Oh my gosh, that's great. Hey, if it makes some scoop, then it's a win con, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. If the game ends early, you get to play another game.
Scavenging Ooze does that for me. In
yes.
Mono Green Control, that card's made like 7 or
Scoos.
8 different people scoop in like the years that I've been playing that deck.
And if you don't have a Scoos, you have Night Soil.
Yeah, Night Soil's like dead, like
which is harder to get rid of.
Scoos. Yeah, but Scoos gains you life and blocks like a motherfucker.
It's true. It's true.
He's so good. And you can tutor him off Court of Calling. I was playing against this, like, Xantris, whatever the guy who puts counters on himself for keyword abilities in your graveyard.
Yeah.
And he cast his commander. And I, in response, Court of Calling, tap a bunch of creatures and spider tokens to put in Scoos into play. Use my mana to exile every single indestructible and hexproof creature in his graveyard. Right? He's like, he still gives it haste, and he gives it a bunch of power and toughness. It's got a bunch of keyword abilities, and he's like, well, whatever. I'll just attack you. You tapped all your blockers for the Court of Calling, and I broken wings it. And then he scooped.
That felt bad, and I wasn't even there.
It was awesome.
Oof. Oof.
Scavenging Ooze.
But yeah, you see, Stax has its place at the table. Especially I feel definitely the higher your power level, the more effective Stax can get.
Yeah, it's true. I feel like in casual, like your deck's more likely to ignore Stax, which brings us back to should you play Stax in casual? Yeah, dude, why not?
I still have friends, and I've been doing it for almost 10 years.
It's true. I'm his friend. But like, think about it. Like, if someone's gonna use removal on your gigantic Galta, right? Why not make them use removal on your Scavenging Ooze first, and then maybe they won't have removal for your Galta.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
That's a good place to end it because
we are at time.
Yeah, we said 20 minutes. So tune in next time when we talk about something else.
Yeah, please join us on our Discord.
Chat.
All of the links to our social medias will be down below. And remember, untap, upkeep, drink.
Nice. Alright, hopefully there's no Stax effects on that video and it gets up just fine.
We should have asked for their favorite Stax pieces down below.
We can just ask it in one of the pinned comments.
Yeah.